Whoa. Never expected for Warhammer to be that rich with lore and well received by board game enthusiasts. But... oh well. Might as well jump on the bandwagon, eh? Meh. Hello everyone, it's Yuri again. Welcome back to another video. For those who are new here, then hello. I'm Yuri. It's a pleasure to meet you all. If you've watched that one Warhammer 40,000 video of mine from 2 Mondays ago, then I'm sure that any one of you could easily tell that I know absolutely nothing about this type of board game, and that reading these comments absolutely baffled me. Like, what do you mean that it's got more? Do I look and sound like Monsieur Matpat to you? Do I need to phone the YouTube Theory King for this? So, similar to my last video from 2 Mondays ago, I'm going to talk about Warhammer again. But no, it's not gonna be about Warhammer 40,000 anymore. This video is all gonna be Warhammer Age of Sigmar, or Sigma. And if you already know me well enough, someone who's merely an average Christian newbie YouTuber, then you could easily foretell that I'm gonna link this game to a Christian's point of view, one way or another. Unlike Warhammer 40,000, which was extremely chaotic in my opinion, since a lot of stuff's going on within the lore of that one, Warhammer The Age of Sigmar is another complex in-game universe itself that isn't entirely connected to the other Warhammer lore. Anyway, I'll do my best to summarize it the best that I can. I have no idea.
A few moments later.
Many years ago, there was once the world that was, which unfortunately suffered a terrible calamity that caused it to cease from existing. Fortunately for those who survived, they were skillfully divided into several groups. Groups which were either sent to the gods of old or sent to other realms. However, one of the survivors, a mortal bearing the name of Sigmar, foolishly stayed behind to live among the remains of the fallen world, enduring all sorts of unexplainable mishaps as the broken world that was made its way through the cosmos. After some time, a dragon named Draconsian appeared and decided to turn the fallen world into its home, effectively remaining it malice and reviving it with draconian magic. As a form of thanks, Sigmar gave the dragon a precious metal named Sigmarite. Eventually, the revived world of Malus reached the 8 planes of the mortal realms, which are all mysteriously found inside the gargantuan void of magic and ethereal energy. The first part of it was when the world that was still existed. The second part of it was the Age of Myths, the age that took place after the realms were made. It was then followed by the Age of Chaos. The fourth and currently last part of this history is the Age of Sigmar, the timeline wherein the game's lore actively takes place, and the timeline where Sigmar is now seen as a god. Whoever thought about the lore of this game from Games Workshop, I salute you. It's so complex that I could cry! Anyway, let's jump straight to the lore and see how it could be connected to some of the Bible's fascinating stories. As what I've mentioned earlier, it all began when the world that was unfortunately suffered the effects of a terrible calamity that caused it to cease from existence. This same calamity also caused the world that was people to lose their lives. Well, most of them, for there were those who managed to survive and eventually migrated to other worlds. This part of the game's lore caused me to remember that one famous story from the book of Genesis about a certain man whose loyalty and obedience to the Lord Almighty granted him and his family their much needed survival, whilst a major catastrophe took place that caused everyone else found out in the open to lose their lives. Yup, that's right. I'm talking about Noah, the builder of the ark and one of God's most loyal followers within the Old Testament. Another interesting lore tidbit that I've noticed is the fact that old man Sigmar decided to stay behind and live alongside the remains of the world that was, even though it's already destroyed. He did this foolish or selfless? I'm not sure. Act whilst knowing the fact that his fellow survivors were successfully transporting themselves to other realms for them to thrive in. The reason for him doing so was unfortunately not thoroughly explained. Maybe the old dude's already living within his golden years when it happened? Maybe his entire family perished within the calamity and he couldn't bear the idea of leaving their remains? I'm not sure. For that part of the lore, I could link it to the part of the book of Genesis where Noah decided to stay by the ark and live his last days as a farmer whilst his sons and their wives leave to start their own families. Let me read them to you. Starting from the point where the Lord God Almighty instructed the family to leave the gigantic boat. Then God said to Noah, "Go out from the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may swarm on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves on the earth, went out by families from the ark. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled a pleasing aroma, the Lord said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, shall not cease." And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. And for your lifeblood, I will require a reckoning. From every beast I will require it, and from man. From his fellow man I will require a reckoning for the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. And you, be fruitful and multiply. Increase greatly on the earth and multiply in it." Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you, for all future generations. I have set my bow on the cloud, and it shall be sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the people of the whole earth were dispersed. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. In the Bible, the descendants of Ham, Shem, and Japheth basically caused a new age of humanity to rise. This new age caused both order and disorder, obedience and rebellion. Basically, two sides of the same coin. In Warhammer, the Age of Sigmar, after the successful revival and renaming of the world that was by Dracontheon, the once simpler things in life eventually became a daily dose of trouble and peace. Similar to how all of us today struggle with our respective cravings for violence and prayers for peace. Don't try to deny it. I know that all of us have terrible impulsive thoughts every now and then. Just saying. Also, Dracontheon reviving the world that was and renaming it Malice was kind of similar to the idea of the Lord Almighty renewing the earth through Noah's descendants after the Great Flood. If Sigmar offered Dracontheon a chunk of special metal, then Noah offered burnt offerings of the clean animals that God instructed him to bring into the ark alongside the unclean animals. This is a fascinating connection, in my opinion. Yes, a fascinating connection to the Bible, but it's also kinda dangerous if you're not careful enough. As what I've mentioned earlier, the world of Malice eventually reached 8 mysterious realms. Realms that house dangerous beings, most of which are more than willing to do anything just to rise to the very top. And these beings' designs are, I don't know about you, but my Christian senses are tingling for these guys. After the Age of Chaos came to an end, order was restored and led by those who refused to pursue the path of destruction, even though these orderly leaders aren't really good people themselves. Against the order stood 3 grand alliances: chaos, death, and destruction. The bad guys, basically. From these 4 grand alliances and the entirety of the 8 realms, factions were evenly brought forth. From these factions, the players of Warhammer Age of Sigmar are then given a chance to pick the faction that successfully captured their eyes and use it for the game. Look, I don't play the game myself, but if I was given the chance to play 1 round, then I'm sure as heck that I'm not picking the factions that these guys belong to. If you want to play the game, then go on, do it. No one's stopping you. But If you feel uneasy because of the characters' designs and backstories, then it'll be best for you to just turn away from the game and never look back. If you feel that something's leading you away from the path that God has paved for you, then let it go. Remember, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Alright, that's all for today. Always remember to make time for God. Be it a minute, a few minutes, an hour, or a few hours. Stay safe, God bless, hit the like button, and please, subscribe.